Welcome back to Hobby Universe Outdoors. I'm Len. Today, I'm going to be talking about a major issue that I just experienced with this John Deere 47-inch snowblower. Initially, the video is going to be just kind of a general use, basic video on this snowblower. But when I started making that video and I started moving a little bit of snow, I ran into a major failure. So rather than a general video, this one is going to be geared towards the problem I had, what the symptoms were, how I figured out what the problem was, and then how I fixed it. Well, unfortunately, that didn't last very long. I got outside, I started running the snowblower, and after just a few minutes, the auger stopped moving and the impeller stopped spinning. Not exactly sure what's going on. I'm going to check the shear bolts first. That's obviously the first place to look, and probably where I'm going to find an issue. But I didn't get any rocks or anything like that, so I'm not sure exactly why a shear bolt would have broke, but I'm just going to have to dig into it and see what I can find. Well, I checked the shear bolts, and I've got 4 of them that I know of. I've got one here on this side of the auger, another one on the other side of the auger. Both of those are intact. And I've got a couple back here where the shaft comes from the back of the snowblower, passes through the impeller, and then connects to this shaft that feeds the gearbox for the auger. But those are good as well. I've confirmed they go all the way through. They're not broke. And the same is true for these. They go all the way through. They're not broke. So that leads me to believe that maybe I've got a gearbox issue. So now I'm going to have to do a little bit of digging. This is the gearbox on the back side. So this large pulley is the one that is spinning and directly feeds the gearbox from underneath. And there's probably no real good way to show you, but what I did was I put some red spray paint on that shaft, and it's way under there. I'm not going to be able to show you, but I got a little bit of paint on the pulley and also a little bit on just one part of the shaft. And then I turned it on and got the PTO spinning, and that shaft for the gearbox is not spinning, but this pulley is. So that tells me that this pulley is no longer engaging the shaft that feeds that gearbox. So I'm going to have to remove the snowblower from the tractor. I'm going to try to rotate this up on its front, making it easier to get at that pulley. There we go. Dump all that snow on the floor. That's great. Well, I've definitely found the culprit. I am certain that the pulley has slipped on the shaft. It's this way, much too far. The shaft is way inside the pulley. That should probably be closer to flush. And I can also see witness marks on the pulley itself, where when it slid this way, it started rubbing on that bracket. So I got a little tiny groove here, which isn't going to hurt anything. But again, it's proving my point. It's letting me know that that pulley has moved. I'm going to remove this bracket, and that should give me good access to the pulley and that shaft, figuring out why it came loose and how we get it back where it needs to be. Get this bracket off here. All right, well, obviously that's not supposed to happen. This pulley should not just come off that easy. So it's definitely come loose on the shaft. Feeling the shaft, I can feel a little bit of a lip there. I don't think it's too bad, so I'm hoping I didn't damage it, because I did run it for a while trying to get it figured out. I wonder if it's a press fit. I don't see any set screws. I don't see a key. There's nothing. Man, that is really weird. Well, I definitely found the culprit. It is this bolt and washer. This is what holds the pulley onto the shaft. So I'm going to take the shaft, get it all cleaned up real nice, make sure the bore of the pulley's clean. Probably smack it a couple times with a rubber mallet just to make sure it's seated nice and tight. And then I'm going to put this bolt and washer on. I'm going to tighten the heck out of it. I wish I had Loctite. I wish I had some blue Loctite. I thought I did. I don't, or I just plain can't find it. So I'm not going to be able to put any Loctite on it. I don't see any evidence that there was Loctite anyway, but I would do it just as a precaution. The crazy thing is, I found this bolt and washer. I don't know how it didn't fall off. I was like 100 feet from the barn when this thing failed, And I don't know why I didn't lose it in the snow. The way my luck is, that's exactly what should have happened. Somehow it hung on when I was in here screwing around with this. It fell out. I found it on the floor. So now I've just got to reinstall it. Again, I can't believe how lucky I am that I was able to locate that. I think we're going to be back in business fairly quickly. Get the shaft all cleaned up. That looks a lot better. It's a little bit rough from where it was rubbing, but it's not too bad. And it's definitely a tapered shaft, so that is going to be somewhat of an interference fit. So I'm going to smack it, the pulley, with my hammer a little bit just to make sure it's seated really well when I put it on there. Something else I decided to do was I'm going to heat up the bore of the pulley. And the reason is when you heat something up like this, it'll expand a little bit. So that hole's going to get a little bit larger as the metal expands. That shaft is cold. It's pretty chilly in my barn right now. So with this being hot and that being cold, that should allow this to slide on a little bit further than normal. So with this hot, that cold, I'll put it on a shaft, smack it with my mallet. It's going to take a little while to heat this up. I'm probably going to have to do this for a solid minute or two. It's been long enough. I don't want to get it much hotter than what it is already. So we're going to slide this onto that shaft, smack it with the mallet, and hopefully it goes as planned. It went on the shaft pretty darn far. I'm pleased with how that worked. Still very hot. Ooh, that is hot. The heat has traveled through that pulley, so it's pretty darn hot. I want to be able to crank on that pretty good, so to keep the pulley from spinning. I'll try to jam this in here. There we go. And there we go. That is pretty darn tight. Snowblower is all put back together, got it mounted on the front of the tractor. I'm getting ready to head out and move some snow. I did fire it up real quick just to make sure everything was moving, the auger and the impeller and everything the way it's supposed to, and it is. So I think I'm going to be in good shape. I'm going to go out and finish what I was trying to do earlier, which is move a whole bunch of snow out of a few different driveways. Well, I'm going to call that a success. I was able to make a couple decent passes through the driveway. I've got a lot more to do. I got to finish this driveway. I've got 2 other driveways I got to do. You don't have to watch me do that. It's not that exciting, I promise you. Overall, I'm pleased with how the thing worked. The only complaint I would have is that during these passes, it was pushing the snow rather than getting caught up in the auger. There were a few instances where I had to stop it and kind of lurch forward a little bit to get that snow to engage the auger. But that's probably more to do with technique than it is the capabilities of the snowblower. I've never had that happen before. And to be fair, this is a really deep, heavy snow, so that probably has something to do with it. But overall, other than that, I'm happy. Beats the heck out of shoveling any day, so it's a win. I appreciate you taking the time to watch. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. If you're not already a subscriber and you like stuff like this, hit the subscribe button. Thanks again for taking the time to watch. Enjoy the rest of your day and be safe.